Hi everyone, and welcome back to KTB Creates. Today we are going to be doing 4 high-end Christmas decor ideas for your home. First, I wanted to take a minute to thank Arteza. They are sponsoring today's video and sent me a whole bunch of stuff to try out. So let's go ahead and start crafting with DIY number 1. First, we're going to take these wood panels from Arteza, and these, I have to say, are amazing to work with. I couldn't wait to get my hands on them. They are made of really nice high quality wood. It's sanded down really well to a nice smooth finish, and they're great for all kinds of DIY projects. So for the first project, I'm going to take one of the wood panels and we're going to flip it over and actually use the back side of it as more of like a frame type of a look. Okay, so first I started out with staining the wood with some Waverly antique wax. I prefer to use this because it's just so easy to use. There isn't any odor like there would be with a regular stain. However, you could use that as well. The wood does take to the stain extremely well, and it's really easy to apply with a lint-free rag. So that is what I'm doing here. And then once you're done with all of that, you are ready to decorate your frame. So now I'm going to take a gift bag that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. I had used part of this bag in another DIY, and all I'm going to do here is cut out this adorable little red truck. If you know me by now, you know that I'm obsessed with the little red trucks. So we're going to just simply cut the exact outline of the truck to put right in that frame, and it fits perfectly inside the little frame. So I'm thinking that's like probably like a 5x7 rectangular like indentation, because the wood panel itself on the right side is an 8x10, if that makes sense. Next, you're going to take a piece of foam board, and you'll see as I'm doing this, I did try and cut it like specific to the shape of the red truck, but I would recommend not being so picky about like really cutting it, identically with the shape, with the little mirrors and everything, because it's really not necessary. I'm just going to use this foam board, and we're going to actually glue it onto the foam board. I just wanted a little bit of a sturdier foundation for it, and you'll see why in the end when the DIY comes together. But just wanted to let you know, don't feel like you have to be perfect around the edges, because you don't want to see. The idea is not to see the foam board once you adhere the red truck to the frame, if that makes sense. Again, you'll get it as I go through it, and you'll see I just keep cutting away at the wheels and the little mirrors because it's really not necessary. So just so you understand what I'm doing here. And then once you're done with that, you are all set to Mod Podge everything together. Then you're going to go ahead and apply a thin layer of Mod Podge to the foam board, and then apply the red truck to the foam board. And then I did another very thin layer of Mod Podge over the red truck. And then we're going to get into decorating and finishing the piece. I'm going to show you how to use this mica powder from Arteza. This is a box of 60 different powders, and these are the coolest things. You can actually do a lot with mica powder, and there's so much information available online. I do also advise you to visit Arteza's YouTube channel, because there's tons of videos there as well. But for this project, I am just going to mix 2 different mica powders together, the crystal white and the pearl white. And to do that, you're simply going to mix it with some Mod Podge. Now, I fooled around with this for a little bit to try and figure out the mixing ratio. And if you know me, you know I'm just kind of like a wing it type of a person. So it comes with this little spoon, and you're simply going to just apply, I think I did like maybe 2 scoops of each of the different powders, a generous scoop. And then you're going to mix up that Mod Podge really well. And this is not like a super glittery finish. It just offers like a really cool sheen to the project, like a kind of like a pearlescent type of a look. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm a little obsessed with them, I have to say. So you definitely want to make sure you mix it up really, really good and make sure that the mica powder is completely dissolved within the Mod Podge before you go ahead and apply that. Then once that's mixed well, you're gonna apply a moderate coat of that mixture to the wood frame as well as the little red truck. And you're gonna wanna make sure you hide the strokes as best as you can. And then we are all set to decorate the frame. So I'm taking some Epsom salt and we're gonna mix that with some Arteza glitter. Now this glitter is absolutely beautiful. I love working with glitter. I know some people kind of cringe when we talk about glitter, but I do have to say this is a very nice glitter. It doesn't stick to everything like on your surface and everywhere you don't want it. It wipes off really, really nicely. So I will say that that's something that I definitely noticed with the Arteza glitter. And all I'm doing is I'm applying a little bit of two different holographic silver and a nice gold glitter into the Epsom salt. And you're gonna mix it really, really well. The holographic glitter, oh gosh, that's a tongue twister. The holographic glitter is so, so cool. It's just got so many different like sparkly facets to it. Now you're ready to apply another layer of Mod Podge where what I'm creating here is kind of like a snow bank or a snow covered, road or whatever. So I'm just applying the Mod Podge, not in a really perfect way, just to make it look kind of uneven and, just as snow would fall on the ground. So that's what you see I'm doing here. And then once you're done with that, you are gonna go ahead and sprinkle on your glitter and Epsom salt mixture and cover that Mod Podge really, really well. I like to pat it down with my hands as well to make sure that it sticks in really well. There is another tip that I didn't get to try, but I did hear if you spray it with hairspray, it helps it to stick to the surface a little bit better. So now I wanted to give the illusion of kind of like icicles or like snow falling on the top of the frame. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just taking some basic Elmer's school glue and I'm just applying across the top of the frame, kind of just a little design where it looks like snow is kind of falling and icicles are forming and dripping down. And then you're gonna cover that with the Epsom salt glitter mix as well. I think this is one of my all-time favorite projects. I'm just so excited watching this all come together. So now I wanted to take some of these, the little jingle blocks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just gluing them together. I'm using 4 because I want it to kind of stand out far from the frame to give it more of like a 3D type effect. So you're just gonna glue 2 together on for each side and then glue the jingle blocks right to the wood frame. And the glitter and the mica powder, it just makes it look so professional and it finishes off the look so well. So now I'm just going to show you how I created just kind of like a little simple bow. I'm taking several different ribbons that I purchased from all over the place and I'm kind of just putting them together in a bunch. And then I took a thicker strip of burlap ribbon that I got from Walmart and I just kind of all tied that all together. We're gonna hot glue it right to the top of the frame and then add some little red berries as a finishing touch. And this project is complete. So let's go ahead and take a look at the finished result and you have to let me know which one of these 4 DIYs are your favorite today. I have to say this is probably my number 1 all-time favorite DIY I've ever done. I absolutely love the way it came. So like I said, let me know what you think and what your favorite is. And as a special offer to all of you, Arteza is offering 10% off. So be sure to check out my description box for all the details and all the products that I'm using here today. Also, go ahead and click that subscribe button because you do not want to miss my future DIYs. Let's go ahead and get into DIY number 2. So here I'm just going to take 2 of these large tag signs. These were from 4th of July or something like that, but I know they do them for a lot of different holidays. I just had them in my stash. So I'm going to take 2 of them, and all I'm going to do is flip them over and remove the little stars from the tags, and hang on to those stars because they will definitely come in handy for all kinds of projects, definitely for some Christmas projects as well. So we're gonna set those all to the side, and then we're gonna flip over the tags and we're gonna paint the wood inside of it. Now, I love to do a faux wood type of a look with light mocha, burnt umber, and classic caramel in acrylic paints. So that's how I create the wood look. And I just go in with my first layer is my burnt umber, and I just kind of brush that on in, you don't have to fully saturate or fully cover the sign, just a kind of nice even strokes across the length of it. So you're going to go ahead and do that. And then once you're satisfied with the way that looks, you're going to layer in the other 2 shades of acrylic paint. Now, I will show you here in a little bit the difference between what types of brushes you use for this technique. So this brush is a brush that I get from Walmart, and they're one of my favorite craft brushes to paint with Mod Podge and regular paint and all kinds of that. But as I'm layering in the colors, I'm not really loving the way it's looking, and I want it to look a little bit more not as blended, I guess I would say. So I'm going to show you the difference. Right here, I'm using one brush. Then I switched to a different brush, which is my favorite brush to do dry brushing with. And all it is a 1-inch regular paintbrush, and it's kind of old and worn. And see here how I apply that, those colors with that brush. It gives it a completely different look than the other panel. And that's the look that I'm going for, because I'm going for kind of like a wood paneling type of a look. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody, but I definitely recommend really kind of understanding your brushes and what to use for dry brushing versus something if you want a really blended type of a look. I hope that all makes sense. I know that's a little bit long-winded, but I wanted to really explain that and give you a good explanation. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. Next, I printed out a free printable online, and I am just going to do this method here. And this is something that I think you guys will really appreciate because I know I use my vinyl cutting machine a lot, but this is something that anybody can do. So I'm just rubbing a piece of chalk all over the back of that, and then you're just going to trace your wording out with a pencil or a ballpoint pen, and that way you can, it's hard to see on the video, but you'll be able to see where the outline is. And then we're going to take some acrylic markers and we're going to go in and color all of that once you've traced everything. It's a really, really neat way to make really nice homemade signs without, like I said, having a vinyl cutting machine. And these acrylic markers from Arteza are amazing. The quality of the paint in the marker is really, it's fantastic. It's great coverage. And you'll see here that's so easy to use. So, coloring in wording like this and something like this is much easier to do with a marker versus a paintbrush. At least I think so, because I don't typically have a really steady hand. So you'll see kind of how easy it is to just go in and trace all that wording with these really wonderful acrylic markers. So I wanted a little bit more detail just to bring out the words that I used in white here. So all I'm doing is going in with a fine tip Sharpie in black, and I'm just outlining the lettering. And then once I'm done with that, I went in and I just added a little bit more shading and colors to the green leaves. You can customize it however you want. You could probably add little red berries on the leaves too. That would look really, really cute. But I am just loving using these markers as kind of a different way to decorate and use your crafts. So they're definitely very useful and something you could use in a lot of different projects. So for the other tag, we are going to layer them. So all I'm going in here, I'm just marking some lines. I couldn't find my ruler, so I'm just using a paint stick here. And I'm just going to do like some simple lines and maybe like a little Christmas tree decoration with some snowflakes and things like that, just to dress up this other piece. So I'm going to go in and make 2 lines with red and green. And I'm really loving this green color. It's a bright green. It actually looks a little bit brighter on camera than it does in person. But it is a beautiful green, and like I said, the coverage of the markers is really phenomenal. And now it's time to finish off the piece. I'm going to use this mesh tubing just to decorate with some ribbon that I collect, and I'm just gonna cut this into 4 different strips of 4 of red and 4 of green. They sell these in the Dollar Tree all the time for a lot of different holidays, and I just love using them. I think it adds like a nice whimsical touch to any project if that is the look that you're going for. So I'm going to show you here how I put together this quick little ribbon using that tubing, as well as layering a bunch of ribbon together. And now you're all set to glue the signs together. And then you're going to add your little bow right to the top of the top sign, and you're all set to go, and your project is done. This was really quick and easy, a cute little project with the acrylic markers, and I just love how it turned out. So let's take a look at the finished result. Okay, so we're going to use 2 more of those wood panels. I went in and stained both of them with the Waverly Antique Wax, and I am using my vinyl cutting machine just to apply some vinyl stickers to this. So I misplaced my little scraper tool, so that's why I'm using this paint stir stick to apply the vinyl. I don't recommend it. It doesn't really work that well, but sometimes we have to improvise. So here you'll see I'm just peeling everything off, and this honestly is a really close second to my favorite DIY of the first DIY, because it just looks so beautiful. It really looks like very professionally done, and it's really because of the way the lettering is. And then finishing it, I'm going to finish it with some of the mica powder, so you'll see what that looks like. And then I'm just applying a bunch of snowflakes to the other wood panel and kind of just you know, having them overlap onto the sides as you see I'm doing here. Then once you're done with all of that, you're gonna take some white chalk paint, and I'm just gonna brush on a coat of that kind of lightly. You just wanna make sure that you cover all of the vinyl pieces. I do like it to look worn because that's kind of my style. So that's why I'm not covering it or saturating it completely, because we are actually gonna go in and pull up all of those stencils. So it gives a really, really beautiful professional type look for you know, it's really a simple DIY, but the look is just really high end and it looks beautiful. Okay, this is my favorite part of any stenciling project, is peeling off these stencils. Or the vinyl, I should say. It's so satisfying, but I love this method. So, you know, you're gonna waste a little bit of vinyl here, but it just looks so amazing when you're done with it, and it looks so professionally done. It's just beautiful. So that's all I'm doing here, is kind of going in and removing all of that. And then we're gonna do another mixture of Mod Podge with some more mica powder. And the camera honestly doesn't do the mica powder justice, but it just gives a beautiful pearlescent finish. Here I'm using a sage glow. I kind of wanted, you know, I wanted to stick with a very neutral type of look for these projects. So that's why I'm not using any kind of crazy color in this project, but this sage glow offers like a really beautiful pearlescent type of a finish that just looks amazing. I absolutely love it. So that's all I'm doing here. And here I show you, I'm hoping you could see that pearlescent sheen versus the other wood panel below it doesn't have that on it. So you can see the difference and what it looks like. It's nothing too overpowering. It's just a beautiful sheen and a beautiful finish versus the other board, which isn't done yet. And then you want to go ahead and make sure you layer that on pretty heavily. I did do 2 layers of the Mod Podge with the mica powder, and you definitely want to make sure you do those edges as well to make sure everything looks completely finished. And then once that is all dry, you're all set to go and your project is done. Let's go ahead and take a look at how these turned out. For DIY number 4, this is a super easy DIY to do, and it's so cute. I purchased these clear plastic ornaments from Amazon. I will leave the link in the description box. And you're just gonna take some polyacrylic and you're gonna use that in the ornament along with some glitter. Now you could also use Mod Podge with this method. I'm gonna go ahead and use this holographic red glitter from Arteza. It's absolutely beautiful. You can use the Mod Podge method, but from my research, I kind of read that the polyacrylic over time lasts longer, and I had a whole jar of it. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and use this. I took a simple medicine syringe, and that's what I'm using to insert the polyacrylic into the ornament. You could just use a funnel if that's what you have on hand, but this was really super easy to do. And you only need like half a syringe. I used too much in this first one, but it's really easy to do. You just want to put that in the ornament, make sure it's coated completely and around the top of that ornament as well. And then you're going to dump your excess out and make sure there's not, a puddle of anything at the bottom. Get all those drips out. And then you're all ready to just apply your glitter right into the ornament. and it looks amazing. So I'm just kind of dumping it in. I'm not really measuring it, and I just keep adding it as I go. And you're just going to kind of flip the ornament around until the glitter sticks to everything. But it's a really fun project and really easy to do, honestly. And the look is so high end. It's just so cool. So look at that glitter though. It's holographic, and you could see particles of gold and all kinds of different shades coming through in it. It's beautiful. And now we're gonna go ahead and decorate it. I'm using some vinyl lettering with my children's names and the year on it. And I'm using this little plastic bag that the ornaments came in just to protect the ornament because they are plastic and they will scratch. So just be careful with that. And I'm just gonna apply their names to the front of the ornament along with the year to the back of the ornament. And then we're just gonna decorate it with a beautiful bow. So I'm gonna show you here how I created my little bow for the ornaments. I'm taking 2 different ribbons that I did purchase at Dollar General, and I'm just gonna hot glue that together. And I'm showing you how I layered them, and I just hot glued it together to make my bow. And then I just took another piece of ribbon and dovetailed the ends, and that'll be the tails for the little bow. It's a really simple way to do a really quick bow. I just tied it all together with some string and then applied some decorations. So I'll let you watch and see how I did that, and then we'll take a look at the finished ornaments. Thank you all for joining me today. Here's a look at all of the finished projects. I hope you enjoyed these as much as I did making them. Don't forget to check the description box below for a link to all of the products that I used here from Arteza, along with your 10% off code for any purchases that you want to make. And definitely let me know which one is your favorite. I love to always hear from you guys. You know I appreciate you, and thank you for watching everything. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so and like this video because it helps my channel out, and I know you won't want to miss any of my videos coming up. So thank you again. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you all very soon.